Hello, dear students, boys and girls. Today, our session will be about how to write a fantasy story. First, what is a fantasy story? It's an adventure with the main characters going on a quest or being chosen to complete a special task. Mystery, magic, mythical. Fantasy is a genre of literature that features magical and supernatural elements that do not exist in the real world. Fantasy stories are imaginative. So I need you to read these definitions well in order to understand more about fantasy and its features. Here we hold a comparison between the three types: fantasy, science fiction, and horror. Through this comparison, you understand more about each type of stories. In fantasy stories, we feature many things. We feature adventure, mystery, magic, mythical creatures, a portal between reality and another world, and then dramatic settings. Now, in the structure of writing a fantasy, we start with the introduction where we explain the storyline, the five W's, and then the main body, the climax. To build the story, we use the elements of fantasy, and then you end with a resolution. Now, more focus should be given to these samples in order to understand what is fantasy well. We have different types of samples. A sample like this is a sweet adventure. It's a nice story. We have we have other samples, but before we come to them, this is more about the elements of fantasy genre. All this, after reading it well, we will get more information about what is fantasy and how you write it easily. This is an exam, for example. Write a fantasy story where the main character has a dream. Of course, use the ideas to help you about the character, the plot, and the setting. You plan your writing before you write. And this is some continuity of the story, fantasy story sample. Also here, we have another type of question. The question here asks you to write a fantasy story using your own words. Don't forget to show some features of that genre in your writing. Here you use your own words as much as you can in order to get a good mark. Now, it's important before you write any type of stories, it's important to plan. It's important to prepare yourself in order to find ideas, and then you develop the ideas, and then finally finish with proofread to make your mistakes less. I hope you could understand what is fantasy and how we write fantasy stories. Don't forget to write your comments mentioning anything you don't understand and giving any positive opinion after you can have after reading and studying well. Thank you.